and welcome to Cabaret Beat Season 2. I am your host, Wydetta Carter, and I am thrilled to bring you more members of the Chicago Cabaret Professionals and let you find out a little bit more about why they do what they do. This is such an exciting year for the cabaret community as we celebrate 100 years of cabaret in Chicago. Today's guests are Dan Michel and Patricia Salinski. So we invite you to relax, sit back, join in the chat. Here we go with Cabaret Beat. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2.
I never made this world, I didn't even choose it, and I know no one said it was fair, but they had a garden once, they had the chance to choose it, they gave it away, including my share, and now we're lost in the wilderness, lost crying in the wilderness, and if anyone's watching, it seems they couldn't care less. We're lost in the wilderness. You follow all the rules, you swallow all the stories, and every night you wish on a star. Dreaming your date would come, trusting in allegories, and every morning, boy, look where you are. And now you're lost in the wilderness, lost, slowly dying in the wilderness, with no chance of living, boy, until you confess you're lost in the wilderness. Don't you ever watch the eagle fly through the sun and wonder how he got to be so free? If you only had, you know your journey's begun. Hey, what have you got to lose, boy, when already we are lost in the wilderness? And if anyone's watching, it seems they couldn't care less. But off we go without a warning, running as we hit the ground, where the future's lies a morning, where our hearts are upward bound, till one bright and dusty morning we all stop and look around, and there in the wilderness finally we'll be found.
Welcome, Dan Michel.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
I am doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me and speaking with me.
Oh, I am looking forward to speaking with you today. So let's get started. But before we do, let me do a little intro for you, young man.
Okay.
Let's see. Dan Michel has been part of the performing staff of Davenport's Piano Bar and Cabaret for over 15 years. He has entertained countless visitors over the years, primarily on Saturdays with the Nitz Howe Experience and on Mondays co-hosting Open Mic with George Howe. Now, there's something about you I'm going to read. You said, not sure where in my journey someone said this to me, but if God gave you the talent to sing like that, then it is your obligation to share it with the world. That's pretty beautiful. So I want you to take us back a little bit and tell us, how did you become a cabaret singer?
I became a cabaret singer in a very circuitous route. I was in college and in choir, but I wasn't necessarily the soloist or that, the one that they always look to for, the big bang. And I love singing. And after college, I have a degree in theater. I have a master's degree in directing. So I became a stage manager throughout Chicago. And I was doing that working at a number of theater companies. And then I was stage managing the cabaret shows here. And then one day, the general manager, Deb Stewart, was saying that she was low on servers. So I said, would you consider me? And then her next thing was, do you sing? And I said, well, yes. Not thinking that at that time, I would be where I am today. So I sang a song because you auditioned to work here, and she hired me, and it kind of fast-tracked me to get really serious about singing and thinking about me as a performer. And it's been a wonderful journey since then.
Well, so you were a stage manager first, a singing stage manager. I love it. I mean,
I was on vocal rest.
You were on, okay.
Well,
you were on vocal rest. So did you actually, you said you majored in theater, but did you actually do shows and plays when you were younger? Or no?
I did. While I was, kind of more behind the scenes with directing, I was on stage as well. And I especially enjoyed musicals. I always could read music faster than the other singer or the other actors, and I could keep a tune, and that kind of always was in my DNA, even as a young kid. And also faith plays a big part of my life. So I grew up in the church and was always singing in choirs and singing at church as well. And even to this day, my day job is at a church. So while that's more digitally focused, I still get to utilize my church music skills.
Oh, okay. It seems like a lot of us sing with our church, or at some point in our career, church has a lot to do with it. It's a great place to hone in on your craft too. So, okay. Now, there's another story here. You had the opportunity to open for Karen Mason as part of the 20th anniversary celebration of Davenport's. So let's get into Davenport's, because you are a true lifeline there. Everyone who walks through the door, more than likely will see you in the front before they can even make it to the back room. So tell us about opening for Karen Mason, and then share with us the Davenport story.
Sure. I have many Davenport's wonderful memories, but opening for Karen Mason was thrilling. And then she came for our 20th anniversary, did a show, and then they had staff open for her each night, and I got to do the actual anniversary night and do a few songs before she went on. And it was just, what a wonderful experience, and just also just a great energy that night with Karen Mason and the 20th anniversary, and being part of this club for so long. And she is the nicest woman, and she will be here in November too. So she's coming back soon.
I saw that. So are you going to open for her again?
No, that was a special for the anniversary, but I will be here definitely, because I'm here every Saturday.
Right. Come rain or come shine, he's there. That's what I'm saying. We have to go through you to get to the back room. So
true.
So tell us about like the open mic night there, and working with George, just things about Davenport that not only members of CCP need to know, but the people who enjoy going to the cabaret need to know.
Sure. There's so many wonderful bars in New York has this wonderful piano bar tradition of having the staff be part of the performance. And I think that's what's so special about here. And I love when I'm waiting on a table of new people that have never been here, and then I'm bringing their drinks, and then the next moment I'm up there singing a song and their mouths drop because they're just not expecting it. And I think that's the beauty of working in a piano bar, is this wonderful talent that is also just part of this culture and part of the experience that people are having here. You come in, you see us, and you may or may not know that all of us here can get up and sing a song and are just an extremely talented bunch, I would say. My colleagues here are so wonderful, and it's just very special. Open mics are also just such a wonderful opportunity because everybody gets to come in and sing a song. You get to see a variety of talent just being shared, and we're all in it together. And I think that's the joy of music. And this bar just kind of gives a place to do that for everybody. So I'm happy to be a part of that, and I'm happy to go with these people as they perform and enjoy music together.
That's beautiful and so true. I mean, there Sophie, I think it's Sophie Grimes. She works there, and her husband. A lot, like you said, everyone there, has to be able to sing a little tune or a little something, something, even behind the bar. So, I mean, talk about a musical place, and that's wonderful. But you performed other places too. You performed at Park West, and in the Le Piano, and I want to go to hear a little story about the front porch in Algonquin, Maine.
Oh, so I've had, part of this has been an opportunity to sing in other places. And last summer, I got to go to Algonquin on vacation, and that's where George Howe plays in the summertime. So he brought me up to sing at the front porch, which is a piano bar that's probably 4 times the size of this and 4 times the crazy. Like everybody there, it's packed full of people. They're all vacationers, and it's not a place where they allow outside town. So I was thrilled to be a part of that and get to showcase a little Chicago love on the East Coast. And, anytime you can perform with George is an amazing, thrilling experience.
So true. So you have a little in. You have a connection.
I have a little
there.
in. Yeah. I mean, I had a little in. But I think also what's wonderful about the Chicago Cabaret Professionals are these opportunities that you get as members to perform. And I've done the Park West, and I've done the Monday series, and back in the day, and the holiday shows. And it's just a great community that really supports each other to make music and just appreciates each other.
So do you have any favorite cabaret shows that you've done in the past, or anything coming up that we should be, looking forward to?
So in the past, my favorite, in 2014, I did a show in the back room here, and it was called The Spark in My Eye. And the whole show was about the fact that I just adopted a dog named Sparky. So that was my, I loved doing that show. I loved having, and having my dog a part of it. It was wonderful.
So wait a minute, I have to ask, did you sing How Much Is That Dog in the Window?
I did. Of course.
I didn't know. I just assumed, like, okay.
You have to sing all the dog songs when you do a dog cabaret. So
you do. Oh, Sparky.
My upcoming performances, I am thrilled to be back and open again here. So I'm here every Saturday, and we opened in August, and what a joy it has been, and to be welcomed back as a place of music. And everybody who comes here is just, it's so emotional to be back after 18 months. So that's kind of where that's my immediate performances, is every Saturday here.
Okay. Well, and like I said, I love seeing your face there every time. I'm like, we have to go by Dan just to get to the back. You have to love that. People literally have to look at you and go, hello, You're like, you don't get to the back until you get by me. So
absolutely. I'm like the world's nicest door person.
You are, and you're very welcoming. So, and that's what's great about this. I mean, you should be very proud of yourself. And I know that all of us in CCP are just so thrilled that 15 years, that's a long time. That's a long time. And that's dedication. That's, that's sustained. You've sustained that, and you should be proud of that. You should be very proud of it. I
am very proud to be part of the staff here, and it brings me joy that I did not expect in my life. All my friends work here. It's kind of like I get to hang out with my friends and make music and enjoy cocktails, and then meet a whole bunch of different people like you. We got to meet here,
Mm-hmm.
and how great is that to have this special place together? and I really missed it in the pandemic, and we all missed it in the pandemic. And,
I'm just going to ask you just to pull a question out of the air here a little bit.
okay.
What one thing did you do music-wise during the pandemic to keep you, focused and looking forward to coming back?
While the pandemic had a lot of negative, I looked at it as an opportunity where I had 18 months where I was not consistently performing. So I really focused on two things. I focused on how do I make my instrument better? And I've been a longtime student of David Edelfelt. So we worked together to broaden my voice, because you didn't have to use it at a performance level as much. So it was a great time to just focus more on the, on the tactical operation of your voice. So I focused on that, and then I focused on just learning a whole bunch of new songs so I could come back and surprise people with some new things when we reopened.
And so that means that we can be surprised at any time walking by you and hear a new tune coming out of you.
Yes.
So that's great. Dan, I can't believe time has flown here. And it's just such a pleasure and a thrill to speak with you and learn a little bit more about your history and, what makes you the person you are and the person that we have grown to look forward to seeing every time we step through the door. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much.
And before you go, what are you going to sing for us?
Thank you very much. I will be singing a song from Thoroughly Modern Millie called What Do I Need with Love? It's a cute song that I learned during the pandemic, and so I am happy to share that with you today. And Wydetta, I have with me Chicago Cabaret Professional Gold Coast winner, George Howe. All the places I would like to show you, although I hardly know you, I've a funny feeling we'd make a perfect pair. Famous sights I want to see you seeing, then nights of you and me, you, we. Wait a minute, just a minute. No, I'm a Joe, it's just one name. Every night to date a different dame. Call each one of them the same pet name. Hey baby, in a row I have my ducks. Loads of gals give me loads of plucks. Leave the coo and do the other clucks. I don't mean maybe, got it good. What do I need with love? Always practice what I preach. Keep temptation at an easy reach. Stick to gals who wash their hair and bleach. I'm happy. Come and go the way I choose. Never gonna sing the tie-down blues. Other guys would kill to fill my shoes. I don't mean maybe, got it good. What do I need with love? That was a near miss. Talk about a close shave. Flirting with disaster. There must be someone up there watching over me. Talk about a four-leaf clover me. Peter Rabbit's missing footsie means I go without a tootsie. Got it good. What do I need with love? I got it good. What do I need with love? Skip the vows and all that rot. Tell the minister that I do not. Bright and breezy as the birds and beesy as the quick and easy as the life I got. Without her. Although I hardly know you, what do I need with love? I got it good. Got it good. But now I got it bad.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you very much, Wydetta. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and lovely to speak with you. Thank you,
Same
George.
here. Bye, George.
La 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 la. Hello, Spider Saloff here, and we're celebrating with a dry martini made with this very special vodka, Chicago Cabaret vodka. Meow. Cheers to all, and remember, I try to be good, but I'm bad.
Whoever said a good man was hard to find? Positively, absolutely, sure was blind. Why, I found the best man there ever was. Oh yeah, here's some of the things he does. He shakes my ashes, greases my griddle, churns my butter, strokes my fiddle. My man is such a handy man. Threads my needle, creams my wheat, heats my heater, chops my meat. My man is such a handy man. Don't care if you believe me or not, he's good to have around. 'Cause when my furnace gets too hot, he turns my damper down. For everything he's got a scheme. I love the way he whips my cream. My man is such a handy man. He flaps my flapjacks, cleans off the table, feeds the horses in my stable. My man is such a handy man. Sometimes he's up before the dawn, cleans the edges off my lawn. My man is such a handy man. Never has a thing to say when he is working hard. I love the way, oh wait a minute, he handles my backyard. My ice don't ever melt away. I get a fresh piece every day. My man is such a handy man. It's thrilling when he's drilling. My man is such a handy man. All right. Take off that apron tonight, honey. Keep yourself covered up until it's over.
Welcome, Patricia Salinski.
Hello, Wydetta. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. I've been looking forward to this. Yay! So let's get started right away. I'm going to start off by reading a quote someone said of you. A fellow Chicago cabaret artist stated, Patricia Salinski has a way of making her sold-out Davenport's audiences feel as if they were in her living room enjoying homemade snickerdoodles and elderberry wine. Okay, so before we talk about how that quote came about, let's go back a little and tell us the story of Patricia starting younger, moving up, and look at, she's a cabaret star. Go.
To me, it's absolutely the most amazing thing because I really didn't have time to sing in my younger years. And I remember when did I discover that music was incredibly valuable? Was when I would take road trips with my children. I remember the first big road trip I took was to New York, and I loaded them up in the car, all 6 of them. I was single. I'd never been to New York. And I said, let's go to New York. And they all said, cool. They didn't know where New York was. Afterwards, there was some moaning and groaning because we did a road trip, right? And singing in the car, you know, the wheels on the bus. At the time, my last name was Ranger, and we would sing, "We are the Rangers, mighty, mighty Rangers, everywhere we go." And we would sing it started really soft and then get louder and louder and louder till they were screaming it. It was an energy release. But then the list of songs would go on, you know, songs that they'd heard me listen to on the radio. Or so that's when I learned, yeah, music is incredibly valuable. It saved my sanity. And so I did a few small things. I lived on an island in the middle of the Detroit River, and they had community theater there. It's actually the oldest community theater in the state. They recently decided, I think COVID had a lot to do with it, but they closed their doors. And I did a couple of little plays. I was shocked, but I'd never done anything. I was so envious of people that were in high school and college, and I'd never done anything. So then I did this. The first time I met Becky Menzie was at Petarino's, and I went up to her afterwards and I said, how do these people learn all this? How do they learn to come up on the stage and sing these songs? And I don't understand. And I was just really, I was floored. I mean, I'd sung in the choir at church at Old St. Pat's. I was in Too Hot to Handle for 8 years. It's one of my favorite things to do. That was the Messiah in a jazz format. Mm-hmm. So I dabbled in music, but it really wasn't until I walked into Petarino's and I met Becky Menzie. And that was like the beginning of it. And Becky said, well, I don't really recruit, but I can give you some suggestions if you'd like. And I said, done. So I was 60 years old when I did that, 61, I think. So I wasn't like one of the spring chickens. I was definitely more mature, and most of my music exposure was either in Too Hot to Handle or in the car with the kids. And so I booked a few sessions, and time went on. I went to these cabaret shows at this place called Davenport's, and I said, that's really cool. I'd like to do that. Then I went to the gala. I saw Joan Curto up on the stage. It was the year that she was the president. And I just said, wow, that's something I'd like to do. So
up to this point then, you really didn't know much about the Chicago Cabaret Professionals. You had met Becky at Petarino's, and then that led you to going to Davenport's to sing some shows. And then, you know, someone said, what, let's go to the gala, or you chose to take it?
No, Becky actually was the one that said to me, you know, there's going to be a gala and you should look into this organization. And I said, okay, because I was just drinking it all in and thinking, I really would like to do something. I want to get more involved. And, you know, maybe I'll never be that person up on the huge stage, but I'll still be my person on some stage. And so, in talking to Becky, and she told me about CCP, and then Mark Burnell told me about CCP as well. And I said, okay. And now I find it interesting that Ann's the president and I'm the vice president, right? So it was that gala. And then I think it was a year later, I got a phone call that said, hey, can you help with the gala program? The person that was doing it would like to bow out. And of course I said, sure. And that started that little side job within CCP. And then, there was a few other little side jobs. And then Jay Cook was leaving his post as treasurer, and I became treasurer. And so that, CCP, and they are just an amazing community. I don't mean to get emotional about it, but I have to tell you, I don't know where I'd be in Chicago today. I don't know what I'd be doing without that organization and the people in it. It's the people that make it the special place that it is. And so
it really is.
Somebody my age, Wydetta, who I'd never done any of these things. And you know what? Nobody made me feel bad or inexperienced, or it was like, you know what? Come to the table. Come on. We're going to welcome.
And so many people come to cabaret at different times in their lives. It's not always, I'm going to join when I'm 20, or, all of a sudden it's like, I just want to sing. And maybe that could be, I just want to sing. But the one thing about cabaret is you can become a cabaret performer anytime within your life.
Look at Marilyn May.
And I don't care if you're, like I said, 30, 40, 50, 60, whenever the mood strikes and you're meeting the right people at the right time, and it's right for you, hey, have at it. And look at you. You went from being curious about something to, you're the vice president now? Hello. So there's a reason for everything. But so what was your first your solo cabaret show? What was your first one?
My first one was called Smile. And I think I chose that title, and I had a goal to do it by the time I turned 65. I'm going to do this show. And so, I didn't have any idea. I had people mentoring me and helping me, but choosing the theme and the title of the show is very, very personal. And I didn't know what it was going to be. So I remember seeing a quote by Phyllis Diller, and I put it on my card, which is what is it called? A smile is, it's a frown turned upside down. It's everything is right in the world when people smile, and when we smile at each other. And I've often thought about that when I walk down the street and I see somebody with a look, like I felt on many a day. And if you smile at them,
right,
they usually
and actually a smile is a great way to exercise the face too.
True.
Okay, it just causes everything.
I need that.
Lift the face. We must smile 24/7. So tell me something about something called Girl Talk that you did.
Oh, that was my second show. And it was just, again, I think I covered a lot of pieces of music that were about women, chattering and, about supporting each other, and how women can be their own worst enemies. But boy, when we're together, we are powerful.
Aren't we though?
And we can conquer the world. Truly, we can. And so that was what Girl Talk was about. I enjoyed putting that show together as well. It was, my friend Jan Pazakowski, she had a little part in it as well. And so it was just, again, sharing being a woman.
I love that. Now, time is flying, but I want you to tell us, you shared with me a little story about the Midwest Cabaret Conference, that whole little audition. Tell us about it. I don't want to give you detail.
Well, I remember saying to Becky, hey, what is this? I'm hearing from other women and other performers that they went to this. And Becky said, well, that's run by Lena Kutrakis. And I said, really, who is she? She's this woman from New York. I said, okay, well, I'm going to audition. I'm going to send her my audition tape. And so I asked Mark Brunell to record it for me, and he did in audition tape. And we sent it off to Lena, and she said, no, maybe next year, you have room for improvement. Well, yeah, we all do, right? But I said, okay, fine. But I wasn't going to take no. I mean, I did that year. I went and I audited it. I did that. But then I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to get in this show. I got to figure out what I have to do. And that's the other thing about this journey and what CCP has done for me, is the fact that it has provided me so many opportunities to learn and to expand. And I did go to New York. I picked up the phone. I'd sung this song, Listen to My Heart. And I thought, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It was by David Friedman. And I love Nancy Lamotte. So I went to New York and made an appointment with him, took the train to Connecticut where he lived, and spent a couple of hours with him and absolutely loved it. And then I called Lena and said, hey, I'm going to be in New York. I'd like a session with you. And I went to her place, and she and Rick Jensen, and I spent a couple of hours with her. And so then she said, all right, you're in the next session. I said, yes.
I love that. You went right for her. You said, oh, I'm going to be there. And I guess one way to do it is to go right to her. So,
and that's exactly what I did. And from then, I've been to her workshop in New York. I sang at Pangea, and also Mykonos. I've been to her workshop on Mykonos 3 times. Wow. And now she's having another one in Mexico and next year, and I'm going to that one.
So see what happened? With your perseverance, you're traveling to Greece and Mexico? Really? Wow. Yeah. So, hey, I applaud you, young lady.
Thank you.
You do you. If you want to do something, you just step up and do it. Step up and do it.
Yeah, because, I'm not 20. Okay, 20 plus 50.
Oh, but honey, you look fabulous.
Thank you.
And with that being said, oh, I have to let you go, but not yet, not yet, not yet. You are going to sing for us. So tell me, what are you going to do?
I am going to do a Willie Nelson song, and it's always on my mind. Sorry, it went from my mind there for a second. I'm going to do Always on My Mind, a slightly different version than Willie Nelson, but you know what? The sentiments, they're the same. Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could have. And maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have. If I made you feel second best, I am sorry I was blind. You were always and maybe I didn't hold you. All those lonely, lonely times. I guess I never told you I'm so happy you are mine. Little things I should have said and done, I just never took the time. You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind. Tell me that your sweet love hasn't died. Give me one more chance to keep you satisfied. I'll keep you satisfied. Little things I should have said and done, I just never took the time. You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind. You are always on my mind.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you, Wydetta. It's been a pleasure.
Same here. Take care. Thank you for joining us for another Cabaret Beat. I hope you'll be back next time. If you would like to learn more about Chicago Cabaret Professionals or make a donation, please visit us at the website. Look at the link below. Take care and see you next time on Cabaret Beat.